All right, so like we do every single week, we are back with another full guide video for this week's Grow a Garden update. Just like last week, we've got ourselves some more recipes to go over. A lot of quality of life changes were done to sort of make the entire process a little bit easier. But of course, like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some of the important recipes that you're going to need. And then as you're watching this video throughout the day, I will go ahead and update the pinned comment like we also did once again, like last week, letting you guys know every single time that divine and prismatic ones go ahead and pop up. Obviously for this week we have a little bit more knowledge, so we do know that pretty much mixing Bone Blossom with anything is going to go ahead and give us that, prismatic and divine. But I guess let's go ahead and pretty much get right into this. So as you can see right here in the middle, there is now a brand new section on the left hand side called the Connoisseur Food Reviews. This little guy right here is basically going to take any of the meals that you go ahead and create inside of this cooking that are mutated, and he'll accept them in exchange for any of these rewards. Now, it's very important to keep in mind that the reward system for this NPC is completely different than Chris P's over here. Chris P's basically gives you a certain amount of rewards based off of, the size of whatever meal you're putting into him. So for example, if you were to go ahead and add in a bunch of crops here that were huge, in return, you would get an absolutely huge meal, which in exchange, after you give it to him, he gives you, I don't know, maybe like 6, 7, 8, 10 rewards. This little guy over here, the way that it works is that once you give him a meal that has a mutation, which if you notice over here in the pot, there is now sort of like a gauge that keeps track of whether that meal is going to be mutated or not. The more mutated crops you put inside, the higher likelihood of getting a mutated meal back. As for an example, we're going to go ahead and grab one wet banana. We're going to throw that in here. Now it has increased to a 20% chance to be mutated. We'll do 2 elephant ears that are also going to be mutated. So right there, we are now at a 52% chance. And then we'll also throw in 2 mutated sugar apples. So right there, it now is showing that we have a 91% chance of getting a mutated meal. It isn't 100%, but it's very likely that we're going to get one. So let's go ahead and hit cook. This is going to create actually specifically the meal that we are in need of right now, which is a smoothie. For the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and spend the Robux to skip this. And if you notice it says cooking pot, get smoothie. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we got ourselves right down here a wet windstruck prismatic banana sugar apple elephant ear smoothie. So obviously in our case, it did come out mutated, which is perfect. But now we have to make the decision of whether giving it to this guy or giving it to this guy. The meal can only be given to one. If I was to go ahead and give it to the food connoisseur, I can go ahead and buy this over here for Robux just to show you what it looks like, because as soon as he accepts the meal, basically what's going to happen is that you will have 3 options to choose from. These are completely random from the actual loot pool, and there is sort of an unfortunate reality to this loot pool, which I'll show you in just a second. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and get the probably gourmet egg, because why not? But if we click on him over here and we see view rewards, there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. And honestly, it was a lot cooler in the beginning of the sort of testing phase, because there really only was the new Culinary Chest, the gourmet seed pack, a bunch of brand new really cool seeds, the kitchen crate, and then 2 brand new pets. That was pretty much the only rewards that were in here, and maybe like a couple of other things, like for example the gourmet egg and the pet shard aromatic, but none of these cosmetic items were in here, which made it really good for you to have just a higher probability of getting some of these really cool stuff. The unfortunate reality is that as of recently with the test server, they have gone ahead and dumped in a couple of random cosmetic items, which sort of messes up the entire likelihood of you getting something like a gorilla chef, for example. So now that you understand over there the connoisseur, if we turn to this side, you guys are probably really familiar with Chris P's already, except that now there is a slight bit of a difference, and that is that he has a meter right above him that says kitchen storm meter. Every time that you turn something into Chris P's, that meter will go ahead and increase all the way up to 40 points. When it does reach the 40 points, the kitchen storm will begin, and what that means is that everything that you cook will basically be a lot faster. For example, up here on the top right hand side, you see the timer. That last meal that we cooked was going to take about 20 minutes to cook. If that kitchen storm was active, it would be completely different and it'd be going a lot faster. Now, you've probably already noticed, but yes, on the right side over here now, there is a recipe book, but there's sort of a catch to this. If we open up the recipe book, you'll probably notice that I only have 3 recipes inside of here. The reason for this is because you only are able to see the recipes in here once you create them. So for example, I just went ahead and made my very first smoothie. So inside of here, it's going to show us exactly what we put inside and what basically are the known recipes for this. So right here, we can see that we can pretty much make a smoothie out of literally anything. Nectarine, grape, coconut, sugar apple, pear, starfruit, literally any fruit in the game can basically go ahead and make a smoothie. All you basically have to do is just combine any of those together, and obviously based off of, what mutations it has, as well as what rarity you're putting in and the size and stuff, it's going to determine whether it's prismatic or not. Like for example, in the case of ours, we ended up getting prismatic. Here is another brand new meal, which is the porridge. As a good example, right down here, you can see that these are the creams, and then over here you have the bases and the different fruits that you can combine with it. Now let's go ahead and sort of transition over to something a little bit different that has changed. And that is basically the Culinary Chest over here. You guys saw that I showed you are able to get this from the Connoisseur over here. But of course, you can also purchase this with Robux inside of the limited time shop. But you're probably noticing that there's something a little bit weird about the limited time shop, and that is these numbers that are at the very top right hand corner. Reason is because now there is going to be a pity system in the game. So if I was to go ahead and spend Robux on this, you can see that on the top right here for the rhubarb, it says guaranteed in 4 chests. When on the flip side, the best one, which is 1%, is guaranteed in 100 chests. What I'm kind of curious about now is I didn't technically buy these for Robux, even though, obviously I did pay for the skip. If I open one of these, for example, will it count towards what's going on inside of the shop? That's what I'm curious of right now. So let's see. Should be 3 now. And no, it hasn't moved. So I wonder if that only counts towards purchasing from inside of here. So I'm assuming that it has to be an exotic culinary chest in order for this number to move. So I'm buying one of those, and yeah, now when you click on the exotic one, it has this right over here on the left hand side that shows you what you will guaranteed get. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Pity system sadly does not work for the regular free culinary chest. All right, so it's now been a couple of minutes, if not even probably more than like an hour since the last time I recorded the last clip. And basically right now they are in the final phases of testing. So I sort of have to go over everything very, very quickly before they pretty much get rid of the entire update. So as far as the recipes and all that stuff, I'll go ahead and show that at the end of the video when I have a lot more time. Because as of right now, I do want to also show you guys that there is also another brand new feature that was added. If we take a look over here on the right side for the pet menu, now you're going to have a total of 3 different loadouts that you can go ahead and have. So if you notice right now, I have it set to 2, but if I switch this to 1, all of my pets will get picked up and swapped out for what I have over here in the 1. They've also gone ahead and sort of changed kind of like the UI a little bit here, but for the most part, the selling point is the loadouts. I'm actually really happy about this. Aside from that, over here inside of the rewards for the Connoisseur, there is a couple of different seeds that you can get, like the butternut squash, the spring onion, pickle fruit, and the bitter melon. I've actually gone ahead and gotten 3 out of these 4. Unfortunately, I don't have the prickle fruit, but technically speaking, the rarest one here, and probably the one that takes the absolute longest to grow, is the bitter melon. I was lucky enough to actually get my hands on this, and let me tell you, this thing has been growing now for forever, literally forever. But if we take a look at this, both of these are actually really good in the prices. So I have one growing over here that still has 10 minutes for 120k basically, and this one over here is 122k. Keep in mind, right, these are absolutely no mutations whatsoever, just completely raw. Unfortunately, the butternut squash over here still hasn't grown anything, waiting for that as well. This one does seem to take a long time, very similar to the bitter melon. So I'm kind of curious what the price on this is going to be. And then, of course, we have the spring onion over here. 58k for this one. Actually, not bad, but of course, it is a one-time use. And obviously, one of the more common ones. Every single one of the other ones, like for example, rhubarb, badlands pepper, king cabbage, all of these are technically not obtainable inside of the test server right now. Not 100% sure, but it isn't also like a rare thing that happens. This is actually pretty common, especially if you've seen some of my other full guide videos. Obviously, they'll be available for you guys when you're seeing this video and the update goes live, but unfortunately, I can't really show you guys any information on these. Now, I do have an aromatic pet shard that you can get as a reward. I'm going to go ahead and put this on just a random pet, to be honest. I'll put it over here on the sunny side up that I have that's sort of climbing over everything right now. Bro, just slow down. All right, never mind. The pig is getting it. If we take a look at what this does, it says every 25 minutes, a nearby fruit is infused with a pungent aroma, applying the aromatic mutation. Now, additionally, I just went ahead and activated the kitchen storm that I was talking to you guys about earlier. As you can see on the bottom right, it says 2 times cooking speed, higher mutation carry over, and aromatic fruit chance once you go ahead and activate that, which there is levels to the storm, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, so now that I've been testing pretty much for like the last hour and a half, I can go ahead and finally show you guys what the brand new recipes are. So just like we did last week, I've gone ahead and written all of these down with right next to it exactly what you're going to be getting of the rarity. Starting at the top, we have porridge, smoothie, candy apple, sweet tea, as well as spaghetti. Keep in mind, if I remember, I will go ahead and drop an I on the top right hand side right now, so you can go and check my previous video from last week, because all of the recipes there will also still potentially pop up. These are just the 4 new ones that are also going to be added into the pool. If you notice, all of them -2 are prismatic, and the reason for this is because, unfortunately, no matter what I did, I just wasn't able to get myself a prismatic porridge or a prismatic spaghetti. So if we end up finding any in the comment section, I will add it to the list. And to also add on to this, I want to point out that over here for the candy apple, you'll probably notice that it says any apple over here. That means that you can use sugar apple, you can use green apples, regular apples, any of them. You just need to go ahead and put 1 in with then 4 bone blossoms included. Now, the really good one that I'm probably going to go ahead and make a lot of when the update drops is the prismatic sweet tea, because it is 1 ember lily and 1 candy blossom. That's literally it, all you need for it. As you can see right down here on my hotbar, I got a wet prismatic candy blossom ember lily sweet tea. This is going to be excellent to go ahead and level up that kitchen storm meter. Obviously not going to be the best for those of you that don't have candy blossom, unfortunately. Kind of like the same thing for the people that don't have bone blossoms, but to those of you that do, this is going to be great, so make sure that you take advantage of it while you can. Now, let's go ahead and finish off this video with obviously our pet passives. This is something that you guys look forward to every single video, so like always, we include them at the very end, and we'll start off with some of the easier ones, which is the sunny side chicken, as well as the aromatic bacon pig, or it's just technically a bacon pig. It's aromatic because I added it onto it, but anyways, sunny side chicken says increases egg hatch speed by 20.29%. Bacon pig, on the other hand, every 118 seconds it emits an aura for 15 seconds, granting 2.02 times chance for new fruit to grow as variants within 15.29 studs. Now, if we come over here to Aiden's farm, he actually has the gorilla that you can get. This one's kind of interesting because it's one of those pets that does require a cosmetic item in order for it to really be viable. But it says as long as you have a cooking pot or the cooking cauldron in your garden, the gorilla cooks in it and grants 5.14% to duplicate food on cook. Now, keep in mind what this is referring to is over here at the Connoisseur. If we look at the rewards, there is a cooking cauldron inside of here that you can get as a cosmetic item. So just go ahead and keep that in mind if you are in the market for getting a gorilla chef. Now, next up, we're going to look at the 2 other pets inside of the chest, which we obviously already went over, the bacon pig. So now let's go over the hot dog Dotson. Now, for this one, as you can see, I do have a screenshot of it, but it says every about 4 minutes drops a 8.14 stud mustard or ketchup puddle that lasts 30.26 seconds. Pets on mustard get a 21.74% faster cooldown, and pets on ketchup gain a 21.74 more experience. So kind of an interesting one, sort of unique. But now we've got the big boy in here, which is the lobster thermidor. Again, for this one, shout out to the testers. We just got a screenshot of it right now. It is a divine, as you can see right here, and it says every basically 15 minutes, there's a 20.09% chance a nearby fruit becomes molten. Every 30 minutes, a 10% chance a nearby fruit becomes meteoric. So aside from those being some pretty interesting sounding mutations, that pretty much does it for every single thing for this update. As always, if you have any additional questions, let me know in the comment section. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. I'm going to be doing updates throughout the entire day, just like how we did last week. And of course, if you guys discover any new recipes that are way more reasonable and don't require incredibly difficult crops to get your hands on, please let us know in the comments. I will add it into the list. That's gonna do it for this video, man. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.